Hello, hello. Welcome. My name is Jason Day. I'm a product designer at Atomic Robot, and with me today is Jonathan.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Leopold, iOS developer here at Atomic Robot with Jason.
All right, everybody. Super happy you're able to join us. Today we're going to work on part two of our watchOS tutorial for the baseball app for the watch that Jonathan has made. So on part one, we put together the home screen to kind of give an overview of the batter, the score, the game, and what's going on there. So now we're going to start working on the batter screen. So when the user taps this batter card, they will go back. They will go to this batter screen, and then they can go back by hitting the menu button. So in the previous tutorial, we put together this little header bar so we can just be able to reuse that component. So before we dive into this, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to add, and we talked about this a little bit last time, is I really like this because it's a practical real life example of how software is always changing. I put this app together myself. I am not a designer, as I said. Jason's the designer here, and so it's nice to get someone else's eyes who is a professional in this area to look at it. And one of the things that you had noticed right away was the contrast between the buttons was not accessible friendly. So this is the original on my screen up here, and you just a simple style tweak, and we made these buttons accessible very easily.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm always trying to accomplish is accessibility friendly for any product, so the products are a little bit more accessible, right? To more people than not. Not everybody has the same vision. It'd be nice if everybody did, but then the world would be a little bit more boring without all those extra different types of people. So, without further ado, let's dive in here. So this was our previous one where we created the components in the home screen. So now I'm just gonna do Shift S, and I'm gonna make another work section here. And let me pull up my toolbars, Command period, and let's change the background a little bit so we can see what we're actually working on here. And is that the right style? I don't know. Oh, 3. Yeah. Okay. So let's just go ahead and name it, and let's just call it batter up for now. And we can change it later or pick your own name. It's all good. So what we're going to do is just basically borrow from what we've already created. These are all our components that we have. So I'm just going to command click this. And with Figma, what's great about it is it will save all those styles from when you click that with the command click. So we're just going to add auto layout around this little piece of text here. And we're going to call it, I guess, number for now. I can't remember what I called it. But again, you can call it whatever you like. And let's go ahead and give it a color. And we have these color styles here. You can use our color styles that we have put together for you, or you can create your own. It's pretty easy to create a color style. You can just go to add here and create a new one if you like. All right, so let's go ahead and see what our numbers were here, because we want this to, we're just kind of mimicking off what Jonathan has created, because he's essentially used native components for this, and we want to be true to the native features of the product. So it looks like it's 95 by 67. So we're just going to go ahead and make it those sizes. So we're not going to really worry about our padding, because we're going to create it like that. And I think we did a border of 12, if I'm not mistaken. Can't remember everything all the time. Yeah, 12. Okay, so now all we're going to do is go ahead and make that a component by hitting Option Command K, and then you got a component. So now we're going to just make basically make another one by hitting this, and this is just giving you a variant of the first component. And for this, we're just going to go ahead and call it batter because you want to name everything as you go. And then this one is going to be called, oh wait, not batter, sorry, balls. I'm not thinking straight there. Then this one will be called strikes. And we're going to change that to the strike color, the red. And let's just go ahead and put auto layout around that. Just Shift A when you select it. And we can, did I put it around the right thing? Yeah, okay. And now let's go ahead and add this to it. All right, and so now we have two little components there. And so now we're also going to make, I guess we don't have to make these yet. The visitor and the home, we're not making that screen. So right now, what we want to do is create a label for it. So that's going to be a different component because these are going to be reusable for other screens in the future. So let's go ahead and grab this, and you can just hit Command click and pull it to the side. And again, we are going to, what's that, Command click and copy that text. So it will save all that information, and there it is. And let's just grab those two and put them in another auto layout frame, and we'll call it for now number, excuse me, if I can type, number plus label. All right, and I typically do padding of 4 on this, and we go ahead and Option Command K, and now we have our new component there. And I think that will be it for now. Oh, we need to make this little guy here, which is another new component, right? So we're just going to duplicate this guy. And I'm going to pause right there so you can give us an update on where you're at before I get into this component.
Perfect. Yeah. So when I looked at your designs here, let me zoom out a little bit. I noticed you had modified our buttons just a little bit. I don't remember exactly what the differences were, but I noticed it before. They were different. So I created what is called a button style. So we were able to use the existing operating system button component, but we wanted it styled a little differently. And so I created this pill button style and was able to use some of your padding values and heights. And it also has the ability to grow to be, I call it greedy, to use as much space as it possibly can, or just to shrink the button down to fit the text, really, or the label. And so I also had to mimic, because we basically here we made a plain button, but I added a scale effect and opacity so that when the buttons are pressed, you can see they get a similar, hopefully very similar interaction to what the operating system would give us. So now that I have this created, I can use it in code in place of the other buttons.
Nice. If it's not too much trouble, could you share your screen for me so I can see too?
Ooh, I forgot to do that. I can do that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, Slack. Yep, let me...
You're fine. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this dude. And I'm going to put them in an auto layout frame here. So we're going to make our balls and strikes here. And like this, let's just call it balls plus strikes for now. And you can name it whatever your heart's desire. And so now we're just going to come in here and I can go ahead and change the property to strikes. And there you have it. And now we're just going to call it strikes instead of balls. All right, so now we have our little balls and strikes display, and we want to make that a component, and that's it. So next up, what do we have here? We have this little pill button for outs and a little trash can guy here. So let's go ahead and make that. And so we can come up to, I mean, you can use this one if you want. I'm just going to grab these two with Shift. I'm clicking those and copy. And let's move it on down the line here. And let's just paste it. All right, so now we have our outs and how many outs we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit Shift A, and it saved the padding between, so I'm just gonna keep that padding of 4 between the outs and the 0, and let's just call it pill button for now. And let's go ahead and add some padding on this bad boy, 16 on the sides. I think we're gonna do 16 on the top and bottom too. That's probably way too big, but we'll find out. And I'm just gonna do a little rounded edge, 100, to make sure it's a circle on the outside. And let's go ahead and give it a color. And I think that's good for now. Is that the right color? I guess we'll find out soon, won't we? All right, so now we are going to make our little trash can circle button. All right, and before I do that, why don't you give us a quick little update on what you got?
Yeah, so the next step that I took before plugging in the pill button, I like to go through the style guide first and update all of the components. And so I called this a large button. Where is it? Here we go.
Okay.
I called it a large button. So I took a look at these. The corner radius changed a little bit. And this is what I mentioned earlier. These buttons, we kept the same same background color of the button, the blue and the red, but we changed the foreground color in these cases to black. These two buttons will be the same. However, since I changed the button to allow you to pass in a specific foreground color, I need to update some of that code. So I think if we do it live, we can add the foreground color very quickly. This is white. We should get a preview. I don't remember what screen is it. Score view. Yep. So we're almost done here.
Oh wow.
So those will look pretty much the same, but the large button view here. Yep. So this is an example of changing this foreground color to stripes, to black, and the increased corner radius. So we should be pretty good shape here.
Awesome.
Ignore the width of these buttons. I was talking to you a little bit earlier. watchOS it's different than some of the other Apple platforms. It's in this case, these buttons will always they'll always grow to take up as much space as they can. But since we have a pretty narrow space and two of these buttons side by side, I won't even need to specify a width on the buttons. So if we come down to this batter count view, they'll just fit quite nicely.
Perfect. All right. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to look for icons. And I think this is the one that we want. Not this specific icon, but this is our local icons here. And we're going to use this delete one. And we're going to put an auto layout around that to make it a button. And let's just call it circle button for now. Again, you can call it whatever you like. Put that border radius of 100 to make sure it's a circle. And we are going to make it the same height as this guy, so it's 53. So it'll be the same height and same width, right? So, and you can see that this is off center, so we'll just hit this little center button for our auto layout, and it should fix everything right up for us. Change that color. And since this is a destructive action for the trash can, we're going to change that color to a more of a red. And I'm going to use this light red. Well, where'd they go? Now I can't find it. Oh, here it is. Just to help with contrast ratio. And let's go ahead and make that a component. Option Command K. And there you have it. So we have our two little buttons we're going to use. And so I'm going to select both of these and hit Option to duplicate them. And we're going to put them in their own auto layout frame. So we're going to call it buttons, I guess, plural. And go ahead and put that in auto layout. And let's put the padding to be 16 between them. And we want to make sure that this is responsive, so it's not doing what I'm expecting it to do. So we're going to change this to fill, and I'm doing that by hitting Option, and I double clicked, that. It's a little quick action Figma has. And we want this text to be centered. So we're going to go back in here to our auto layout box here and fix that right up. And that's it. So now we have our responsive button. Responsive meaning that it just fits the screen size, any screen size for that matter. So let's go ahead and try to put this screen together. But before I do that, I'll let you fill us in where you're at.
Yeah, so the next thing I did was apply those pill button styles to the bottom buttons here, and then also our changes to the large button to the balls and strikes buttons. I moved the inning indicator up above the buttons and removed it from the middle. And then I think the last thing I need to do is change the foreground color of this trash can button I named it Strikeout Red,
Okay, I like it.
which I thought was great. So there we go, button style there. And if I take a look at, I think I'm missing a little bit of padding, so I'll get back and look at some of that padding.
Okay.
But yeah, we're almost good on my side here, Jason.
All right, awesome. Well, it looks like I got one more kind of button to make because I kind of cheat with that little inning indicator. So what I'm going to do is create a variant of this pill button. Hit that plus right there, and I'm going to copy this icon. Move these out of the way so they don't interfere. I'm going to paste it right inside. All right, and so now this is going to say innings. Didn't give myself very much room there. Here we go. All right, so now, and then we don't need this, well, I guess we do need the number. And so now I could just change this icon to the inning icon we have right there. Kaboom, look at that. Looks good. And we're just gonna center all that good stuff. Make sure that one's also centered. And so now I can just kind of trick that variant, this little button into doing it something, and I'll show you in just a moment here. So by hitting A, you can grab these little templates of watches, and they're going to put outside of your little workspace. I'm just going to drop it right in here. I'm going to change the background to black because that's typically your Apple Watch background color. And so let's go ahead and start dropping these guys in here. And so from our last tutorial, we did this little header. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this because this was the one that has the menu. And Figma just kind of drops it right in the middle there. We're going to grab these, move it up, and pull it to the side. Were you going to say something?
No, man, I'm good.
Okay, cool. All right, and so we're going to grab our balls and strikes, and we're going to pop those guys in there. All right, and then now we have our outs. We actually want this one, and so let's just copy and paste it right inside. And I'm going to drop that to the bottom, and I'm going to select these two, put them in auto layout. I'm going to put some padding in between them so they're not so close together. And let's make sure we have some padding on the sides, just 1 pixel typically for the Apple Watch. And I think we need to make sure these are responsive. Looks like these are at hug, so let's do fill. And same for this one, fill container. All right, and the last one we're going to add is innings. So I'll show you what I meant by kind of cheating the system here. We are going to get rid of this padding, and I am going to get rid of that color. So now it's exactly what I want. Maybe a little bit of padding could be adjusted, but it's basically all the components we need. And I'm going to put these together in their own thing and call it inning plus balls and strikes. And I'm going to change that padding to 4. And I guess what I could have done is change this padding to 4, but actually that wouldn't have worked either. I did it the right way. Okay, and so now we're just going to lump all these together and just call it content, for lack of a better name. And I didn't frame this, so let's call this innings plus CTAs, for lack of a better term there. And now we can hit 4, and I think we need a little bit more. Nope, I think that's we might need a little bit more padding at the top. What do we do up here? Did we do padding? Maybe I felt that missed that step. But this is essentially your screen, and we can go ahead and make this the batter screen, a component, and let's just call it batter for now. So yeah, it's looking great on your end. Love it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty much completed over here. I can show you. You and I were talking a little bit about this offline, and I mentioned it a little earlier that the constraints on the watch screens, you really only get this small rectangle. This, I wish I could show the actual space that you get. Maybe I can if I add a quick border here. Or yeah, so this is really, I guess we get a little more space than this, but you really only get this small rectangle. And even though it looks like you get all this other space, and there's ways to utilize some of that space, but in this case, we're not. So when I add the spacing, I've created kind of a stack, including this inning indicator and the balls and strikes buttons, and then our buttons at the bottom. So those are two individual stacks. So I can show you when I change the padding in between those two views, it really starts to squish the buttons. And so trying to match the design constraints. I guess we're getting a little bigger here. Those buttons compress themselves, but trying to match the design constraints starts to get complicated because you can see now our rectangle is getting clipped in the bottom corners there.
Yep. Okay.
So sometimes this is one of the trade-offs too that design and engineers make. Engineers like, hey, I can't implement it exactly how it is in the design. Can we make some changes here to make it work?
Sure.
And all good designers love feedback from engineers, right, Jason?
Oh, you can't live without it.
Oh man. So yeah, we're looking good here. Let's get rid of this ugly looking yellow border. But we can see what it looks like in the simulator. I've made it giant.
Ooh, look at that.
But here we go. The buttons still respond like they normally would.
Nice.
Presses. Whoops, that screen I think is coming up next. Trash can button, outs. Yeah, we're in good shape here.
Nice. I love it.
Oh, one other thing that I think you mentioned at the beginning was this menu icon.
Mm-hmm.
This is the icon that watchOS gives us out of the box, and I don't even think it came up in discussion between the two of us that I don't know if we can change it. We probably can, but B, I obviously have not changed it to match your designs.
Yeah, I'm not married to my icon. I just
Perfect.
couldn't find that one in any of the plugins I was using. So sometimes
Perfect.
you're limited to your tools unless you want to custom make one, and I didn't think that was necessary. So
perfect.
Awesome. Well, I think we about knocked it out of the park. Oh. Sorry, couldn't help myself.
Bad jokes.
All right. Well,
Oh,
thanks everybody for joining. I hope you'll see us on the next one. I think we're gonna do. Which one are we gonna do next? You think?
Oh, I don't know because I'll have to. There's not much to change with this, with the inning
Okay.
score view. The scoreboard view I've started on,
Okay.
and actually your changes were great. They looked very simple, but I ended up having to rewrite the entire scoreboard.
Oh Lord.
I don't know that will make a good demo.
Okay.
Maybe a good before and after.
All right. No problem. Well, I guess the next one will be a surprise. So stay tuned for our surprise.
All right,
y'all.
thanks. Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Peace.